Hi there, how are you doing? Welcome to my channel and thank you so much for watching. Today I am coming to you with a topic that I believe is really going to change your life. On today's topic, we will be talking about how to overcome the spirit of poverty, how to escape poverty, how to actually make sure that you live the kind of life that you want to live. Now, I am very passionate about this topic, and that is the reason why I can never really share enough on this topic, because this is something that plagued my life, and but by the grace of God, somehow I was able to get over it. So I want to come to you today to share my experience with you, with the hope that if you are somehow going through, let me say, the kind of thing that I went through back then this might be an inspiration for you to just know that if this girl can make it, there is hope for me. So, and again, I want you to know that on my channel, I talk about God. I give God the glory. I give God the honor. I talk everything in reference to Him, because it is because of Him that I am here today and I am whom I am. It is all because of God. And so I will first of all quickly refer you to a verse in the Bible, and that is in John chapter 10 verse 10. And if you've known me for a while, you would have already known that that is one of my favorite verses in the Bible. It says this: the thief cometh not. That is, the thief doesn't come but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But I have come to give you life, and give you life more abundantly. And now, I just want us to build and lay a foundation on that. I'm so passionate about seeing people, especially Christians, really live the things that I promised them in the Bible. I mean, like, I want us, or I want any one of you out there, if you are not a Christian, please just give me the chance. Watch this video to the end, and you might really change your mind. Now, let us go into it. The thing is this: I grew up really poor. And when I say poor, I'm talking about it came to a point that I had to drop out of school because my school fee couldn't get paid. And I stayed home for one whole year doing stuff that the adults should be doing, like helping, going to places with my mom, going to farm with my mom, and all of that. The truth is that some of us, by the virtue of the family or the environment in which we are born, we are disadvantaged. And now, like I said, in my situation, amongst many siblings, I'm the sixth of eight, and my parents didn't have enough to really take care of us. And so I grew up with this poverty mentality up to that point in time when I was kicked out of school because my school fee wasn't paid, and I had to stay home for 1 year and watch my classmates go to school every day. That was a very painful experience in my life, and that was the day that I made the decision that I should never be poor. I remember making that decision and telling myself that I should someday have kids, and I will not want my kids to suffer like I am suffering. And so what I'm getting at is this: sometimes some of us have this kind of experience, some of us go through things like this, but we just allow those things to condition our minds into accepting that this is the way it is, especially the voices from our parents, from our environment. Nobody around our neighborhood is rich, or nobody around is speaking hope into us and making you know that there is really hope for the future. And so you just kind of like get used to that poverty setup. I don't know, this situation that happened to me back then, it became like an aha moment to me, because when that happened, I quickly decided that no, this is not the way life is supposed to be. I believe that people are not supposed to suffer this way. And so because of that, I made that promise to myself. Now, mind you, I was very young at that time. And when I took that decision, I I stood with it. It got stuck on my mind. And now I started thinking of strategies like, okay, you don't want to be poor, this is your plan, so how are you going to do it? However, back then we are told that the only way for you to get out of poverty, the only way for you to get a better life, a better future will be if you go to school, study. It is true, right? But what I'm saying at the same time is that you can't always rely only on that. However, I knew that that was a part of it, but I also knew that it would take a little bit more than that. Like, for instance, I started working on myself. I'm not even sure how all of this happened. I'm not even sure how I came to that point where I knew that I had to start reading books. I started reading books. Any book that is talking about the Western world, because somehow I eventually decided that, okay, I have to do this and that in order for me to not be poor. And so, because I knew that the environment that I was inside was the environment of poverty, and someone cannot stay in that environment and ever make it, that was the mindset I had. It therefore means that for me to ever be able to change my life, I will have to travel out of Cameroon. I will have to travel out of the country. So what I'm saying is that at a very young age, I took that decision. And I told myself, I would not want to be poor. I will not grow up and have kids and not be able to send them to school. I am not like despising my parents because they did their best. And but I'm so sure, and even when I look back now, I am thankful to God that somehow I was given that wisdom to realize that I shouldn't depend on the circumstances that were creating that poverty, or to give the blame to my parents, or to give the blame to the society, the economy, the government, and all of that. I somehow knew within myself that for me to be able to make it out of this poverty condition will be me and me. And somehow I managed to understand that for me to be able to make it out of this limitation, I knew that it would be me and it would be God. And so I decided one day I am going to leave this environment and travel abroad. Back then, traveling abroad usually required huge amounts of money. I just had that within my spirit, and I kept believing in myself. I kept believing in that dream. I kept telling that dream to my siblings. I kept telling that dream to my mom. And now, like I said already, I started reading books. I would pick up any book that is talking about the Western world, and I started getting the idea of how the Western world looks like, how life in the Western world plays. And I started reading books. I read a lot of books. If you don't take anything from this video, I want you to take this one thing. There is nothing that the enemy or the devil can do against a mind that is made up and determined to break out of a certain habit or to break out of a certain situation. A mind that is determined that no matter what, I am going to change the condition in my life. Usually I tell people this: do not ask yourself the questions, how am I going to do it? Where would the money come from? And all of that. Because the moment you start thinking of all those things, you become discouraged. I am so happy that somehow I was just so naive and so bold, and I would proclaim this thing with everything in me, and I would say, like, this is not going to be my life. I am going to travel out of Cameroon. I'm going to go abroad, and I will make myself a better life. I will make it possible for my own kids to have a better life. I remember one time coming to my dad and telling him that this is my plan and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I remembered my dad asking me something like, child, I get it, but the question is, how are you going to do that? And I remember telling my father this one thing I should never forget. I told my dad that my mind is so made up about this that I actually see myself. I was actually seeing myself in my future already, you know. And I told my dad that, Dad, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but if it means that the waters of the Atlantic Ocean will be dried up for me to walk across. That is how far I am ready to go, and I will make it. And so my dad took a very deep breath, because my personality is that one that when my mind is made up on something, I get it, and I do not take no for an answer, especially when it's something that I feel like it's my birthright to do it, and you tell me no. You just activated everything on the inside of me to like do exactly that thing. So that is how I through my determination and through the help of God, I got out of that poverty. I got out of that limitation, and I actually came abroad to build myself, or at least get myself the kind of life that I wanted to get. Now, the morals of this video is this: if you are at a point in your life you can't make it, that you are like not having any hope, I just want you to use me like an example. Like seriously, when I finally traveled out of Cameroon, that is going to be a topic on its own. I will make a video on how I eventually traveled out, and how I traveled out without paying a dime. When I say without paying a dime, I traveled out, millions were paid for me. I did not pay a dime. And that is to tell you the power of a made up mind. And I was a very, very strong believing child. I believed in God above everything. I might have not been the perfect kid, but the one thing that I couldn't play with back then was my God. I always believed, and even when people were asking me, how are you going to make this happen, I told them all the times that I know that I have God on my side, and with God, God is going to, those things are going to be possible. So what I'm saying to you is, if you are that kind of a person that you are in a corner in your life, it is tight and you're not having no hope, hear me out. Literally, there was no possibility for me to pay my flight. There was no possibility for me to even get a passport done. But what I'm saying is that I believed in God. When I eventually traveled, it so shook people that there was actually this statement made about me, that traveling abroad has become so cheap, so that even people like Annette could travel. Okay, like literally the statement, what good can come out of Nazareth? Like, can something good ever come out of Nazareth? But what I'm saying to you today is this: the power of our God, combined with your will and your determination to make it in this life, you become an unstoppable engine. And it doesn't matter whatever limitations the devil will throw on your way. Like we started with John chapter 10 verse 10, that the enemy comes not but for to kill, to steal, and to destroy. No matter how he comes, if you stand with your God and you make that your mind up and say, I'm not going to give up on this my dream, I am going to achieve this dream no matter what. Hold on to it. Even when you are falling, fall, but get up and hold on to that dream. Because by the way, what I would just say to you is that usually it's not like very easy. You know, the whole thing about making your mind up, it's not like it's easy. That's not something that is easy. You will make your mind up, you will get this, that those voices will tell you, throw up in the towel and forget about it, because this can never happen. I'm not saying that even when you make up your mind, it will be easy. You'll be greeted often by failure, but do you know that the way to success is failure? Because a lot of people actually have to fail their way into success. Like me coming here, I failed my way. I had a couple of other trials and I failed. But now imagine if I had stopped at that 1 or 2 trials, I wouldn't be here today. Okay, so what I am saying is that make it normal. Tell your brain that it is normal to fail. And you know, our brains have been so trained, and especially our society, with this whole idea of instant gratification, so that when you want to try something, and if it's not just turning out the way you want, you throw it away and you move to the next thing. If you are a believing Christians who believe that the word of God is the truth, that the word of God is infallible, then do not give up on that dream of yours. On my channel, I'm so passionate about motivating people, but based off of the word of God, because I came to that realization that every single word in that Bible is real. It only needs people to believe in it. And if you believe in it, sure enough, as real as God is, that thing will come to pass in your life, because Jesus did not lie when he said he has come to give you, yes, you, my brother, you, my sister watching, he came to give you life and give you life more abundantly. So do not despair if things are not working. Do not give up. If you like this video, like I said already, please do not hesitate to click on that subscription button, and also please click on that little bell. That way you will be notified every time I upload a new video. So until then, please take care of yourself, and see you next time. Bye bye for now.